Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into some pretty fascinating research today, and I think as eye doctors, you guys are going to find this one particularly interesting.
Yeah, this should be a good one.
It's all about morning daylight
Oh,
and how it can potentially rejuvenate eyesight.
interesting.
So we're going to be looking at this research article.
Okay.
It's called Weeklong Improved Color Contrast Sensitivity after single 670 millimeter exposures associated with enhanced mitochondrial function.
Catchy.
Yeah, right. Get ready for some bright ideas.
Oh, I like it. I think you'll be surprised how much power that morning sun packs.
Yeah,
And we're not just talking about vitamin D here.
right. This study really dives into something called deep red light therapy
Okay.
and its effects on vision. Honestly, when I first skimmed the abstract,
Yeah.
I was a little skeptical.
I understand. It almost sounds too good to be true, right?
Yeah,
But the science behind it is actually quite compelling. It all comes down to those tiny powerhouses in our cells.
all right.
Mitochondria. Oh, yeah. Think of them as like the tiny batteries that power every single cell in our bodies.
Okay, mitochondria. Got it.
Okay.
We all remember those from biology class.
Right.
But how do they connect to vision and this whole red light thing?
Well, as we age, those cellular batteries, the mitochondria,
Yeah.
they don't hold their charge as well, right?
Right.
They produce less ATP, which is like the fuel our cells run on.
Hmm.
And this decline is especially noticeable in the retina,
Okay.
which has incredibly high energy demands.
Interesting. So less efficient mitochondria in the retina equals poor vision.
Exactly. And that's where the deep red light comes in.
Okay.
This study found that exposure to 670 nanometer light, that's deep red light, can actually boost mitochondrial function in the retina.
Wow.
It's like giving those aging batteries a jump start.
Oh, so it's like plugging your phone in for a quick energy boost,
Right.
but for your eyes.
Exactly.
I like that analogy.
Okay.
I'm definitely intrigued. Tell me more about how this study actually worked.
So the researchers took a group of people between the ages of 37 and 70.
Okay.
So a pretty good representation of the ages we see in our practices.
Yeah.
And they exposed them to this 670 millimeter red light for just 3 minutes in the morning.
3 minutes. That seems incredibly short. I spend longer than that deciding what to have for breakfast.
Right. But here's the kicker. Even a single 3-minute exposure led to significant improvements in color contrast sensitivity that lasted for a whole week.
A whole week from just 3 minutes. That's impressive. So how much improvement are we talking about here?
So the study focused on two specific color axes: Triton, which is the blue-yellow axis, and Protan, which is the red-green axis.
Okay.
Imagine like a color wheel
Duh.
with a line running from blue to yellow, that's your Triton axis,
Yeah.
and another line from red to green, and that's the Protan axis.
Okay.
These are the areas where we typically see age-related color vision decline.
That makes sense.
Huh.
We've all had patients complain about colors appearing dull or muddy as they get older.
Exactly. And the results here are pretty remarkable. They saw an average improvement of 17% on the Triton axis
Wow.
and about 12% on the Protan axis.
Okay.
That means colors looked more vivid, more distinct for a full week after just one treatment.
Wow. Those are some serious gains. Imagine being able to tell your older patients that a simple red light therapy could make their world more colorful for an entire week.
Yeah, it has the potential to really significantly impact quality of life. Think about activities like driving, enjoying art, or even just appreciating the beauty of nature.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about seeing clearly. It's about experiencing the world in all its vibrancy.
Right.
This could be a game changer. But is it really as simple as shining some red light in the morning? Is there a catch?
You're sharp. There is a catch. This red light therapy was only effective in the mornings.
Oh.
When they tested it in the afternoon, it had no impact on vision.
It seems the early bird really does catch the worm, the better vision too.
Right. It does make you wonder why that specific timing is so crucial.
Yeah.
The researchers believe it has something to do with our circadian rhythms, our internal body clock.
So maybe our cells are primed to respond to this red light in the morning because that's when our internal systems are primed for repair and rejuvenation.
Exactly. It opens up a whole new way of thinking about how light interacts with our bodies throughout the day.
This is blowing my mind. I'm thinking about all the times I've told patients to wear sunglasses to protect their eyes from the sun. What if we're actually missing out on some crucial benefits by blocking certain wavelengths of light?
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
And it highlights the complexity of light's role in our health. It's not just about protection, it's also about harnessing the power of light for therapeutic benefit.
Yeah. You've given me a lot to ponder.
Yeah.
I'm curious to dive deeper into the implications of all this for our practice.
Me too. What are your initial thoughts? How do you see this research potentially changing how we approach eye care?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is patient education.
Okay.
Imagine having evidence-based conversations with our patients about the importance of morning daylight for their vision health.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just telling them to get more sunlight. We
Right.
can be specific. Encourage them to take a walk outside in the morning, even if it's just for a few minutes. Explain how that morning sun can actually help boost those cellular batteries in their eyes.
Right. It's like a prescription for sunshine.
Exactly. But beyond encouraging outdoor time, I'm wondering, what about patients who don't have easy access to morning daylight?
Yeah.
People who work night shifts, live in areas with limited daylight, or maybe have mobility issues. Could red light therapy become a viable option for them?
That's a really good point. It's an interesting question. Could we potentially incorporate red light therapy devices into our practices?
Yeah.
Almost like we prescribe glasses or contact lenses, but instead it's a dose of light.
It's definitely worth exploring. This research is still preliminary, of course.
Right.
We need more studies to confirm these findings, figure out optimal dosages, and determine long-term effects. But I think this has the potential to be a major shift in how we think about vision care.
Yeah, I agree. It's exciting to think about the possibilities. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back and really unpack the specifics of this study.
Okay.
Can you walk us through exactly what they measured and how they arrived at these impressive results?
Absolutely. Let's dive into those details. So you want to know about the nitty-gritty of how they actually measured these vision improvements?
Exactly. We've talked about those percentages,
Yeah.
17% on the Triton axis, the 12% on the Protan axis. But what does that really look like practically?
Well, they use a test called color contrast sensitivity testing.
Right.
It's pretty standard in optometry.
Yeah.
Essentially, it measures how well someone can distinguish between subtle differences in color shades.
So like those charts with the colored dots that gradually fade.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. And what this study found was that after that single red light exposure, participants were able to see those subtle color differences more clearly for an entire week. Imagine being able to pick out those subtle shades of green in your garden, appreciate the nuances of a painting with more vibrancy.
Yeah, it paints a pretty vivid picture, pun intended.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about those patients who might be a little skeptical.
Right.
We know some people are wary of anything that sounds too alternative.
Yeah.
How do we explain this in a way that feels grounded and evidence-based?
That's a great point. I think it's all about emphasizing the connection to mitochondrial function.
Okay.
We can explain that this therapy isn't just some magical fix. It's about supporting the fundamental energy production within their eye cells.
Right. It's like we're giving their eyes a tune-up,
Yeah.
optimizing those cellular engines for better performance.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to highlight the safety aspect.
Yeah.
This study used a very specific wavelength of red light and a short exposure time. It's not the same as staring at the sun or using some unverified device.
Definitely. We want to make sure our patients are getting information from reliable sources and not trying DIY light therapy at home. Speaking of reliable sources, this study was published in a reputable journal, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It went through rigorous peer review, which means other experts in the field evaluated the methodology and the findings before it was published.
Okay, that gives it some serious credibility. But even with strong evidence, I imagine there'll be some eye doctors who are still a little bit unconvinced. What would you say to those who might dismiss this as just a fad?
I understand the hesitation. It's
Yeah.
natural to be skeptical of new treatments, especially when they sound almost too good to be true. But I think it's important to stay open-minded.
Yeah.
This research is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to understanding the therapeutic potential of light.
It's like we're entering a whole new frontier in eye care. We've always known light is essential for vision, but now we're starting to see how different types of light can actually be used to improve and even restore vision.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be in that field. But let's not forget the ethical considerations.
Right.
As with any new treatment, we need to proceed with caution, ensure patient safety, and avoid overpromising.
Absolutely. It's not about jumping on the latest trend. It's about carefully evaluating the evidence, understanding the potential benefits and risks, and making informed decisions for our patients.
And as more research emerges, we can refine our understanding and approach. Maybe in the future, we'll have specific protocols for red light therapy tailored to different age groups and eye conditions and lifestyles.
Yeah, I can even picture a future where we have specialized light therapy clinics alongside our traditional optometry practices.
Yeah, it's not that far-fetched. Think about how laser eye surgery has become so commonplace. Light therapy could be the next big thing in eye care.
This is really making me think differently about the role of light in our daily lives. It's not just about illumination anymore. It's a powerful tool that we can harness for better health and well-being.
And as eye doctors, we're at the forefront of understanding and utilizing that power.
Speaking of understanding, there's one thing about this study I keep coming down to, and I'm curious to get your take on it.
I'm all ears.
The fact that this red light therapy was only effective in the mornings,
Hmm.
that time-specific element is just so fascinating.
It really is remarkable, isn't it? And it speaks to the intricate interplay between our internal body clock and how our cells respond to external stimuli.
Yeah, it's like our bodies are tuned to certain frequencies at different times of day. Maybe our cells are most receptive to this deep red light in the morning because that's when our internal systems are primed for repair and rejuvenation.
It's a fascinating hypothesis. It makes you wonder if we've been underestimating the importance of timing when it comes to various treatments and therapies. What if we could optimize the effectiveness of treatments by delivering them at specific times
Yes.
that align with our natural circadian rhythms?
It's a game changer for personalized medicine. Imagine tailoring treatments to an individual's unique body clock. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
And this research on red light therapy might just be scratching the surface.
Right.
I'm eager to see what other time-dependent therapies we might discover in the future.
Yeah, this has been such an eye-opening conversation, pun intended. It's amazing how something as simple as morning daylight can have such profound effects on our vision.
It really underscores the interconnectedness of our bodies and the environment. We're not just passive recipients of light, we're actively engaged in a dynamic dance with it.
And as eye doctors, we have a responsibility to understand this dance and guide our patients accordingly. We need to go beyond just prescribing corrective lenses and start thinking about how we can help our patients optimize their light exposure for better vision and overall health.
Imagine a future where we're not just eye doctors, but also like light doctors,
Yeah.
helping our patients navigate the complexities of this essential element for optimal well-being.
It's a future I'm excited to be a part of. And I hope our listeners are feeling inspired to explore this new frontier of eye care as well. This research on morning daylight and red light therapy is truly groundbreaking, and it's just the beginning.
It's a reminder that there's always more to learn, more to discover, and more ways to help our patients see the world with clarity and vibrancy.
So to all the eye doctors out there, let's keep our eyes open to the possibilities and embrace the power of light to transform vision care.
To a brighter future for our patients and for the field of optometry.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to the research we discussed and let us know your thoughts. We're always eager to hear from our listeners. Thanks for joining us.